Hello everyone, it's Joel Davis with United Medical Transportation Providers Group, youarethebroker.com, and Home Care Access. And as many of you know, I've been gone for the last little more than two weeks, doing a lot of traveling, and I like to parlay work with pleasure. So visited with some of you, had some broke bread with some of you. You all got to meet my my family, my wife, and my kiddies, which was great. So enjoyed that, but now that we're back and I'm working to get caught up on a lot of emails, I want to share a couple of great emails, show you some great wins and some unbelievable losses. Just absolutely foolish losses that never need to happen, that could have been ginormous wins. But man. So let me stop rambling. Let's just dive right into it. The first thing I'm going to share with you is a guy who I've shared some of his stuff before. Worked with him for years. Guys been working with me for years. So these emails are, again, I've been gone for what, 2.5 weeks. So these emails are a little older, so bear with me. But I want to share them with you because they glean some legit info. So this client provider, prior to us working together and him starting his business by himself with a single vehicle, now he has a dozen, and he used to work in an ambulance, in the ambulance industry, and he's doing phenomenally well. So he sends me this email. This is back from the middle of June, so again, you know, it's been a couple of weeks here. He says, "Why do people listen to you? None of this works. I'm going back to ambulance to make $40 an hour." Obviously, he's joking because we could see his two attachments. So let's go ahead and take a look at his two attachments. Okay, the first one he sent me was his P&L month by month over the last 12 months. And look at that beautiful trajectory. Look at that beautiful trajectory. Not only does he have a beautiful upward trajectory, if you look at it proportionally speaking, he's starting to further increase his margin. If you look at the income to expenses, he's starting to increase and buffer those margins. So it's like, and I love this dude. I typically call him a kid because he's, you know, young 30s. But I mean, what do you say to this? What do you say to this? Because there's people who have been in this industry. Again, I'm gonna say this again because I have someone in his same state, multiple people actually, but one in particular who, I mean, the guy has like 80 vehicles. He's making a fraction of this because all he does is the motive crap nonsense, and sends shivers down my spine. All right, so let's clearly this guy, boom, okay, beautiful, love it. Guy handles his business, handles it well. Let's look at the second attachment that he sends me. So over the last few months, we've started working. We started building his honey pot. So far, he's up to 105. Okay. Now, of that year to date, and again, he's only been doing this for a few months now. He's what, year to date? He's up over $9,000. So he's plus or minus around 9% ROI in building his honey pot. Again, now let's be realistic. Is the $105,000 a ton of money in a honey pot? No, I mean but again, he just started this a couple of months ago. And again, now let's look at the P&L that you just saw. Let's consider the upward trajectory. He's outpacing. He's buffering his margins, so he's able to fund his honey pot. I mean, this is the game. I mean, in a short period of time, I say short, I mean, we're talking about, you know, a matter of couple years tops. I mean, he's going to be making more in his honey pot than he will a frontline business. That's boom rich free. Hello? So it's amazing. So many people flounder around with the stupid business models because you're listening to the battle of the dingbats, the clowns online, all the gurus who are pushing the national accreditation crap, and all it is a harvest fest to get you into signing up with more brokers with next to no margin. I mean, this dude is making about 9% right now in his honey pot. That's more margin than a lot of people make doing broker work. it's now, more on him in a second. So this is a big win. Why am I sharing him? You'll see why in a second. It underscores a key point. But also because the dude executes. He listens and he executes. He started with a single vehicle. He's on a dozen. Right now, we're working on some possible. He's being solicited for some agreements where literally he's in a position. He's like, JD, if we move forward with this, I'm gonna have to recapitalize and add some more vehicles. Great problem to have. And I'm like, I know, yeah, no doubt, but you know what? If they're gonna do that, we have to increase these margins over here on this agreement and this and that. So we're going back and forth with these two different facilities. But he has an opportunity to go beyond that. So it's like, dude, upward trajectory. You can't upward trajectory with increasing margins. Hello, and you're funding your honeypot. This is the ideal play. Why? You listen and you execute. And let me rephrase all that. You listen to legit sources that are time tested and proven to work. You don't listen to the battle of the dingbats and all the nonsense. Here's how to sign up with more brokers. All right, more on this dude in a second. Now let me show you. I'm gonna share with you two huge losses. Not for me, because it doesn't matter to me either way. Two losses for two people, and it's like uncanny. It's uncanny. One is a buyer and one is a seller, and they both botch these deals. Why? Because of attorneys. Now, when I'm working with buyers and sellers, especially if I'm bringing two together, I have to have a win-win deal. Now, if I'm only working with one of them, I'm going to obviously do the best for my client provider. But if I'm bringing the two together, I got to have a win-win deal because I love you both. I want to see you both win. Chances are very good that we're going to have a good, we need to have a good transition. And chances are very good that even after we transition the business and let's say the seller stays on board and helps work with the buyer for a period of time, even when that seller leaves, chances are good I'll work with him long term. So I've got to have win-win, bottom line. So it's not just me serving. This is why I am not a traditional broker where I can only eat what I kill. Absolutely not. I don't do those deals. So this is why I've said so many times, when we get attorneys involved who know nothing about NEMT especially, and they're going to come in and they're going to perceive me as a typical broker. Like think about like real estate, for example. A real estate broker might take 6%, but it's only specific to that deal. Now, when I work with you and we sign a retainer agreement, it's for a year. So if that deal goes south, I'm still going to work to bring you along and try to bring some other buyers or sellers, try to find some other businesses. So it's for a year. So clearly coming into this, I am not a traditional broker where it's feast or famine. I got to try to sell anything I possibly can to put food on the table. Nonsense. Any buyer and seller I bring together, it's exclusive. So time goes into that. Effort goes into that. To credential them, make sure they're legit. So that because I'm not gonna waste my, if someone is trying to buy a business, I'm not gonna bring a crap business. If someone's trying to sell a business, I'm not gonna bring a joker buyer who's a half stepper and ain't got no money. So let me show you some losses. That this is just crazy that two of them came together like within 2 weeks of each other. All right, this one is just tragic, man. This one is tragic. Okay. This one is just tragic. So this email's from the 7th. He says, General, thank you for your note. I completely understand and respect the rationale behind your methodology. I want to reassure you that you have my full attention and commitment throughout this process. Do I? And I appreciate the guidance you're providing. Do you? That said, the only sticking point for us at the moment is the structure of the retainer. First and foremost, you have to understand, your retainer is to work with me. And again, I'm not a traditional broker. I am not wasting my time. I'm not desperate for quick cash. I'm not trying to sell any business possible. So we're not going to list your business to the general public because all that does is undermine you, relationships you might have with facilities and any associated contracts. You could have attrition with employees. If employees see that you're trying to sell your business, they could be bailing on you, which further undermines the entire deal. Hence the reason, exclusivity. I can only bring serious people together, bottom line. That said, the only sticking point for us at the moment is the structure of the retainer. As you know, in most business acquisitions, I don't do most business acquisitions. Hence the exclusivity. As you know, in most business transactions, it's customary. I don't do customary. I do deals. It's customary for due diligence to be conducted prior to any financial commitment. Yeah, no doubt. You're missing it. You're missing it. If you want to do business with me and you want me to bring serious buyers and sellers together, there's a price at the table. Facts. And I work with you for a year. I know, greedy of me, I know. He continues, with fees such as success fee, typically around 6%, paid at closing. This approach helps maintain credibility. I know, I'm losing credibility in the eyes of the Battle of the Dingbats and the national accreditation organizations. I know, I lose credibility in their eyes. But when I got people who get win-win deals together, yeah, I don't lose credibility. This approach helps maintain credibility with our investors and aligns with standard industry practices. I don't do standard industry practices, just like I don't do standard national accreditation crap. Here's where everything goes south. My attorney has advised. Now, here's what you have to understand. I worked with this guy several years ago. He went off grid, went off radar, reappeared, and I started working with him several months ago. Since then, we've done so much work for him. Everything from putting policies and procedures together, pitch pages for getting financing, answered 1,000,001 questions, etc., etc. I mean, we did a ton. So now, when it's time to move forward, it's almost like, well, let me get my attorney involved, which I'm cool. Look, I got no problem with that. I've worked with 1,000,001 different attorneys, especially, look, if they want to finalize a deal, that's fine. But it's like, when you have to get an attorney, it's like getting an advocate for the advocate. Okay, I'm advocating for you. Now, this guy was a buyer. I'm advocating for you, and I'm going to tell you up front, I'm bringing the seller to you, and watch this. When I bring the buyer and seller together, guess what? You split the retainer. You split the retainer. So he was in the position where he was going to split the retainer. The other one is too. I'll show you that in a second. He was going to split the retainer, and he still couldn't make it work. My attorney has advised that we're prepared to move forward under those typical conditions. I don't do typical. If you want typical, go to Battle of the Dingbats. Oh, that's right. They don't do stuff like this because they don't. They just do low-hanging fruit like broker nonsense. That's right. Forgot. My bad. However, committing blank, no, I'm not going to put my dollar amount because I don't want other people to know my business, like the Battle of the Dingbats, national accreditation organizations, and all the nonsense. However, committing blank, chump change, up front and being liable for chump change, half of chump change. So it's like super duper chump change. If the deal doesn't close, presents an extreme risk, there's a problem. This is exactly why I have to do retainers. If chump change sliced in half, which is super duper chump change, is too much for you and it presents an extreme risk for you, this is exactly why I have to have a retainer. Because if you can't even meet that threshold, I can't bring serious people to you. I can't do it. Can't do it. If the deal doesn't close, presents an extreme risk for me, and this could be seen as misuse of investor funds. If you have to use investor funds for a retainer, we can't do business. I mean, let's just be honest. You can't fund chump change. I'm sorry. It's the only obstacle holding us back from moving forward at this point. We can't move forward, clearly. This was a 7-figure deal. This guy was going after a 7-figure deal, which was phenomenal. 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 How many times have you heard me in my previous videos talk about people who trip over pebbles? If there's flexibility to proceed without the upfront retainer, are you insane? Let me work for free? Are you insane? If I was doing a charity service, that's cool. Look, we're all called to give. We're all called to tithe and to give to charity this, and that. So let me get this. So what? You want me to work for free, put all in man hours, have my people work, not sure you're serious. If something goes south, will there be delays? What's that going to do to my seller and my relationship with them? Because I'm not going to jeopardize that too. If there's flexibility to proceed without the upfront retainers, and if there's flexibility to proceed without the super duper Trump change, dude, we are ready and eager to move forward immediately. No, you're not. No, you're not, because you're tripping over pebbles. Now, so this is a 7-figure deal, multi-7-figure deal. Multi-7-figure deal. Lost. And this is just uncanny, because now and he was a buyer. Now let me show you a seller. This one's crazy. So this is a seller. So this seller, I never worked with them one-on-one to help build their business, but their business is strong. It's strong. So I did a valuation on this business. It's strong. And I hear that. So basically, what happened in working with this seller, everything was great. I mean, we corresponded a million times, because after we did the valuation, the seller was like, "Hey, let's move forward. Let's sell this puppy." And the seller is in a tough state. Bottom line. So buyers are not lining up. But strong business, great upside, guarantee I would get the seller the best possible deal possible. Probably not going to see anything. If I closed on this with my prospective buyer, who's now since moved on to a different business, I guarantee that the seller will not get the same price. Guarantee it. If the seller goes with something else, it's just not going to happen. So dilly-daddle around, dick around, go to attorneys, all that stuff. I don't hear from the attorneys. Not days, not even weeks, months. And then finally, the attorney, who knows nothing. You have to understand, attorneys have to find purpose. Okay, so if you're going to retain them, they have to find purpose. So if you go to them, you say, "Hey, could you check out this retainer agreement?" They have to find something. What are you paying? They're not going to just rubber stamp it. They have to have purpose to establish their value that you're paying them. So here it is, not just weeks, days, it was months later. Finally, this attorney of the seller pops up out of a toilet, sends me a quick email. "Hey, what do you think the chances are we could talk whatever day he said, and we could introduce ourselves?" First of all, I don't need to introduce myself to anything for anybody, because ultimately nothing's going to change in my agreement. Nothing that we talk about, you, Mr. Attorney, is going to change my terms. That's never going to happen, so you're wasting your time, but whatever, because I'm not negotiating with you. That's not going to happen, so whatever. But I told him, I said, "Hey, under normal circumstances I would, but unfortunately our buyers moved on. Haven't heard from you in not days, not weeks, months." Another 7-figure deal. So now the seller reaches out to me and says, "I hear that it took too long for my attorney to get back to you, and now your buyer moved on." Yes. I am quite upset about this. I am a newbie to this, though, and need an attorney's guidance before signing anything. Tripping over pebbles. You have a good business that's long established. You and I have been corresponding for months. Did evaluation. I'm saying this to you the viewer. Don't even retain our services until you've spent hours. Make it days, make it weeks, I don't care. As much time as you need to learn more about me and my people and see who and how we are and how we operate. You know, we get hate mail every once in a while because people don't like my politics because I'm a Trumplican. I don't care. Don't retain my services. You're not going to hurt me. That's the beautiful thing of why I can be so honest and so transparent about things, because no one's paying my check. It's not happening because I'm boom merch free, so I'm good. Not dependent on anybody. I'm not feast or famine like these clown brokers. And now you got these attorneys who are just botching these 7-figure deals. It's a shame. So let's see where I was here. It says, I'm quite the seller says, I am quite upset about this. I am a newbie to this though, and I need an attorney's guidance for signing anything, blah, 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 whatever. How were you successful this long in business? Did you every single agreement? Because I've seen your agreements, and your agreements are like, I know your attorneys didn't prepare those. I'll just leave it at that. Your attorneys didn't prepare those agreements. You did the cut and paste routine. Guaranteed. I've seen your agreements. Your attorneys did not prepare those agreements. Those are, because dude, you know, those are cut and paste agreements. So stop. I apologize for time spent back and forth because I went above and beyond to spend more time, which I typically wouldn't do that. But look, I'm trying to help this seller. Had a buyer lined up. It was just perfect. Please reach out if you have another potential buyer or this one comes back to the table. I will see if the attorney wants to discuss the agreement for future representation. Don't waste your time. I'm not negotiating with your attorney. So yeah, I'll talk to him. I'll tell him. But it's like, this is what it is. Take or leave it. I don't care. If the attorney has a problem with it, go pound salt. Don't care. I'll see if he wants to talk. Dude, your attorney means nothing to me. Let's just be clear. Anybody who we're going to work with, look, my goal is to make you the best possible deal. We want to close the best possible deal. And make it legit. If you think I'm going to inflate numbers and do nonsense, I'm not going to do that. Because again, especially if I'm bringing the two together, it's got to be a win-win. So I don't care about your attorney. He's just a means to an end to me, and I'm not negotiating with him. So there's that. So let's see if I got the right one here. I responded and said, I don't have any other current buyers in blank in her state. You know it's a tough state, so they're definitely not lining up, but if anything changes, I'll let you know. Like I said, I see more deals get botched by attorneys, so I'm used to it. It's exactly why I don't move forward without a signed or funded retainer agreement. When I'm in a deal, I'm serving as an advocate for the person/people I'm representing. So an attorney who 99.999% of the time knows nothing about NEMT only serves as an obstacle and barrier for me to do what I have to do to get the best deal. It's like retaining an advocate to protect you from the advocate. Tough formula. Again, I will let you know if anything changes. Couldn't say it any better than what I already said. All right, so and she responded. I knew you would say that. I am pissed about the botching because it was so stupid. You tripped over pebbles, just like that other one I just showed you here from the buyer. You trip over pebbles. It's like, why do you need an advocate for my advocate? I knew you would say that. I am pissed about the botching. You called it. I understand why you need the agreement. I also know I'm not capable of doing this without an attorney, though. Please, let's keep the dialogue open. What are you talking about? You are not done with me. Now, let me show you this. Let's go back to the guy who I opened up with, who I told you worked with him for years, doesn't trip over pebbles, listens, executes, bam, bam. And again, I'm not an attorney. I don't play one on TV. I majored in pre-law when I was at West Point. I'm very good with a lot of different things and very good with risk. Everything, my entire mindset is always risk management related and structuring things. And the service agreements that we prepare are all from that risk management perspective. Okay. So I'm gonna go back to the guy who I opened up with. Been working with him for years. From the infancy stages of his business. You saw his P&L, boom. I mean, the guy's going to be hitting $200,000 a month here. And he's further growing. A lot of people will increase revenue, but as they increase revenue, something is going haywire, and all of a sudden their margins start going down. You'll notice his margins were increasing. Phenomenal, right? So this was just last night. So every email I just showed you was from like 2 weeks ago-ish, right? While I was on vacation and doing my trip, right? This is actually from yesterday now, but it's from that first client provider. We were going back and forth real quick on some things, and so an email I sent to him, let's look down towards the bottom. I said, number one, I agree. Number one, send me some information that I need. I said, number two, I said, my wife is working on making reservations for the following location in Orlando on Thursday from this date to that date. Here's the link. I jokingly said to him, I said, you could stay in communist Cali. He's from a communist state. I said, but let me know if your wife and daughter can come for at least some of those days. Why did I say that? Because he and I are going to do business together. We're actually going to do business together as in business partners, which I'm very selective in who I do business with. But why am I going to do business with him? Because he's time tested. I've been working with him for years, and he's an executor. He executes. He listens to the right sources, and then he executes. Now watch this, watch this. What's his response? Let's look to the very top. Copy. Copy. No, well, let me check with my attorney first. I better check with my attorney. Well, I don't know about those. There was no hem and haw. Many of you who've been following me, you've heard me talk about get the message to Garcia. This is why I love people who just execute. They get the message to Garcia. There's no hemming and hawing. I don't know. Well, I don't know if I should meet you in Orlando, Joel. Let me check with my attorney. No, it's like, boom, done. Sent me another email last night. Good. I mean, the guy, boom, right away, booking it, done. So my wife and kids, so before I got married, I would travel all over the place, take care of business, and yeah, business is pleasure. But now, once I got married, especially when I had the little youngins, it definitely wasn't moving around nearly as much. Now I'm at a point in time, especially because we homeschool, hey, business and pleasure, they go together. So I don't go anywhere to the best of my ability. I try to go nowhere without my wife and kids. A lot of it depends on her schedule. But I said, hey, I told him, I said, listen, he and I have been back and forth over the last couple of months. I said, I think you and I, we're going to do business together. I'm looking at a particular project. I said, we need to do business together. And ironically enough, he had an idea. He was looking at doing a little like side hustle. I said, no. Screw the nonsense. If we do something, we do it big. We do it big or we go home. And boom, all in. Message to Garcia. So I sent him this email. I said, hey, here are the dates of when I'm going to be in Orlando next month. Be there. And what do I get? Copy. Not, hold on. Let me put you on hold while I call my attorney. None of that nonsense. There's people who just find a way, figure it out, and make it happen. And guess what? Because his business is on an upward trajectory with increasing margins. Not upward trajectory, yet decreasing margins. No. Upward trajectory with increasing margins. Money's not an issue. You're fun in the honeypot. When it's time to go take advantage of a business opportunity, boom. Now, he and I have worked on another acquisition previously. Do you think he tripped over pebbles? Oh, well, let me check with my attorney. I can't fund this retainer agreement. He didn't get tripped over pebbles. He didn't trip over pebbles, and he didn't get hung up over paying chump change to have access to the table. You have to have exclusivity. I promise you this. I'm never going to be working with a seller, and I'm going to bring just a slapdick buyer who doesn't even know, he doesn't even have two nickels to rub together. Not going to happen. Likewise, I'm not going to have someone who's well-funded looking for a legit business that he's going to be able to own it as an asset versus having to buy it and become an operator. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. I have to merge the right people together. Guess what? That's exclusivity. So all of, like you saw, the buyer mentioned his email. If we customarily, traditionally, typical broker this, typical that. No, we don't do that. Why? Because we need to handle our business and handle it well. We need to make good decisions. We need to execute properly. That's what separates what I do, my people do, from all the slap DICKs online. Because we're not going to do that. Because when we do it our way, we have a history of doing one thing: winning. Bottom line, and we're going to keep winning. And if you want to do the same, you got to be willing to execute. Don't make excuses. Execute. Don't make excuses. Execute. When you do, I'll see you at the top.